Okay. Hello, Klaus, Härö. What do you think people will like about your movie, My Sailor, My Love?
Well, if you had asked me a week ago, I would have still been pondering and saying I don't have a. Let's see what it is. But now a week after Toronto, a couple of days after Toronto Film
Yeah.
Festival, I'd say it's been pretty encouraging. People have come up to me and saying it's one of the most beautiful films they've seen for a good while. They've been touched about the characters, and yeah, it's been a huge, very warm welcome. So I'm very encouraged.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're happy, and I'm glad that the Toronto audience warmed up to you, because when I'm sure it sucks when that doesn't happen.
Yeah, the Toronto audience can also be very critical, and for a good
Yeah.
reason. It's very smart. You get
Right.
questions you did not expect, which is great, which is a good wake-up call for any director to sort of, you get to look at your work with sort of a fresh look. I mean, you're working with a film for so long, so you might get sort of blind to certain things, and you think things are working which aren't, but the opposite can also be true. You might feel that, oh, I'm not sure about this, but people might not be disturbed about that at all. So I mean, you're critical yourself as well, certainly when you first time see it with an audience. And this was my first time to see the film with an audience. I mean, it was only completed a while ago, and we're still waiting for the local premiere, and that's a couple of weeks ahead. So this was the first live audience.
Yeah, it must be interesting because, to an extent, watching movies is a subjective experience, but when you have a critical mass, and it's like, oh, a lot of people feel that way, but maybe that didn't intend it like that, or maybe, it doesn't really matter. It's just like, film and story is just a mushy thing. It's hard to know, right, what's going to stick or not. So that's fantastic.
That is, and of course, when I go to a festival, it's not often that I have time to look at other films, but I watched a couple of films, and I need to say they were great ones as well. So not only did I take away the
Nice.
the sort of encouraging feedback for my own film, but I got a good dose of inspiration, I have to say.
What did you see that you liked?
Oh, well, I saw a couple ones, but I think The Good Nurse was a good one.
Right.
Really strong acting. It was the director is Danish, and it was a beautiful mix of the best things in Danish film, the best things about American film. Sometimes when and this comes very close to me because this is my first English language feature, and sometimes when the director sort of moves to another location, another country to do a film, whatever his or her abilities were, they seem to get lost, and you say, what happened here? But with The Good Nurse, not so. I think it was a very, in a good way, understated, very exciting, very nerve-wracking, and sort of even disturbing story, but made in a beautiful sort of low-key way, which reminded me of many good Danish films. Then of course I saw the Western Front, the first World War film, which was just I can't say it was a nice experience, but it was a really strong experience. The film was just enormously impressive.
I was on the red carpet for that movie, and I was really struck by how intelligent that director is.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to your movie. So one thing I enjoyed is the sense of perspective. So usually you watch a movie and it's all you agree with one character, and one character is in the way, and it's like maybe it's complicated, but it's basically set. And in this movie, I thought it was interesting because I went back and forth between the daughter and the father, and then and then there's that other lady in between, and I thought that was really interesting and novel first, or maybe not novel. It was different. It was fun.
Thanks, Michael.
I was wondering, was that always structured in? Tell me about doing that kind of thing.
Thanks, Michael. I mean, that's also very encouraging, because that's basically what we wanted to do. We have a story about a daughter, a middle-aged daughter who wants to help her father, hires help for him, and quite unexpectedly, the father and that help, they fall in love. And the daughter's, you would expect her to be happy, but she's not. She's outraged. And so in a way, she becomes, from being the protagonist, she becomes the antagonist in a way, because suddenly she's in the way for their love. So we do change perspectives in that matter. We do sort of look at the whole thing. I've actually making of the film, we were discussing this, that we would like people to feel for the characters, but then again, at times sort of step away and say, wait a minute, what are they doing? And then again say, oh, I see. So it will be that kind of roller coaster or change of perspective. And if that's how you felt, I'm very glad. I mean, obviously, the characters aren't always doing good or nice things, and but then again, we wish the best for them. So it's sort of both and that's the way we hoped it would be. Yeah.
Cool, great. Well, there you go. So it takes place in Ireland. You are not Irish, but do you feel Irish now?
No. Yeah, sometimes when you fall in love with a new place, you become more Irish, or than the Irish themselves. So I guess it's a bit of that. No, I mean, certainly you're not alone in making a film. As a director, you always work with the crew and work with the team. And I've done co-productions before. I did a film a couple of years ago called The Fencer, which was shot in Estonia. I don't speak Estonian and certainly do not speak Russian, which we had, I think 20% of the film was in Russia. So you need to trust people. You need to trust the actors. You need to sort of give them trust, and then you gain good things. And certainly when we went to Ireland, I was very open about the fact that I'm almost a tourist here. I need the Irish producer, the Irish crew, the Irish actors to show, sort of to lead the way. And I think they were eager to do so, or maybe they pitied me, I don't know. But anyway, I think people felt in the team. We had a couple of Finns in the crew, the cinematographer, and some others. But apart from that, it was mostly Irish. And I think the Irish crew really sort of made it their business to lead the way. I think you could say about many people. We had a wonderful production designer called John Hand, who was, I would say, so much more than a production designer. He would also sort of encourage us to have a look at different aspects of Irish life and music and culture and whatever, more than only things to do with his department. And this was true for so many. The Irish producer, Mr. David Collins, as well, he would sort of lead the way. I described what kind of landscape, what kind of place I would like, and he said, well, you need to go west. And that's how we ended up in Mayo, County Mayo, and on Aquila Island, where the film is shot. So you're not alone. You have a lot of people sort of leading the way or being there with you, and I hope that comes across as truthful and believable in this case.
That's funny about shooting part of your movie in Russian. I'd be worried they'd be insulting me in my own movie, because I'm in Canada, and often I'll be with someone from Quebec, and then another French guy or girl will come up to the Quebecer that I'm talking to and insult me in French. And I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah. The Russian language was in a previous movie, not in this one. It was in a movie called The Fencer a couple of years ago. But yeah, I mean, you have to. We did not have it. I mean, would we have had any Irish language here in this film? I would have been completely,
the Gaelic.
Gaelic. Yeah. I would have had to trust them completely in that matter as well. But I mean, we had the aspect of, I was the only one of the few in the crew who did not speak English as their mother tongue. So of course you have that. And as a director, being the one who's not speaking the majority language is very educating, if you will. It's very special.
It's a test of authority, right?
I mean, yeah, you have to. I mean, I'm not very keen to always be. I hope I'm not bossy, and I hope I'm not like a control freak, but still, as a director, you need to be the one leading the way in a way, and then sort of not always finding the words, or what often happened was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I would run out of English. Like I had a certain portion every day, and then suddenly my mind goes blank, and I can't find words, or I can't find expressions. And this would happen occasionally when we were tired, for myself and the other Finns in the group. But that's as I said again, you work as a team, and hopefully after a couple of days, couple of weeks, you're a team where everybody works together towards the same goal. And it's not about the director; it's about like all people involved in that team, and they're all knowing where to go, and they're all going the same way.
So, did you like the poster for this movie at the Hyatt Hotel? I'm sure you saw it.
Oh yeah, it was there amongst very many other posters. You know, that's always the thing in a film festival. Uh, you say, wow, what a nice poster we have here, and there's that, and there's that, and there's a lot of competition always, which we are reminded of whenever we're in a film festival, that we're
You had
not
prime real
alone.
estate though. You still have prime real estate.
Yeah, that's fine. That's true. That's true.
I never missed it. So okay, so without tooting your horn or being too morbid, what would you think your strength is, your like your great strength is as a director?
Oh, if I look at it from my own perspective,
Yeah.
I'm just extremely. There are two sides to that. There's sort of my side, what I find intriguing and what I like, what I love, and what I might even think I'm good at. And then there's the other perspective, which is what I get credit for. And what I love and have loved since I was 12 is I just love film. I've been a sort of film nerd, if you will, from the age of 12, and I just like watched a lot of films, and I love the language of film, like telling stories in pictures. That's what I really love. You know, it's not so much for me about words and dialogue, and I'm not really into that. What I want to do always is to sort of ask myself the question: how do I tell this visually? It's not that I make music videos. It's not that I make action films per se, but it's, even if I make dramas, it's like what pictures, what shots, what lenses, what sort of whatever visual element or music element tells this story in the best way. And I never get tired of that. That keeps me sort of going. That keeps me enthusiastic, and I love telling stories in pictures. If I read a script and I can sort of see I can do this as a sort of, I can create a style or look for this film which is visually visually memorable and strong, then I'd say yes to the story. But if not, if it's just people talking in a cafe or in a bar in an apartment, I say it's fine. I would probably enjoy the film, but I would not enjoy making it, because it's not about making pictures. And in myself and my love, it was very much about these people in this landscape, which triggered me. And then if I listen to other people or people, the encouraging comments I've gotten, people usually say the acting in my film is very good. Now that's a place where I feel often surprised, because I don't feel myself that I'm the strongest actor director, in the sense that I often thought, I mean, I certainly do not come in and tell the actors, look, this is what you'll do, and then they'll do it. It's more like I'll tell them, so what would you do? And then they'll suggest something, and I'll say, wow, and if you do that, what about, and it becomes a sort of give and take. And maybe that triggers actors too, that they sort of see, okay, I'm free to suggest, I'm free to sort of explore, and that triggers them. And I'd say about this film that what was unique, or maybe not unique, but uniquely sort of for me very strong, and what I remember, my takeaway from the shoot was the way the actors really trusted each other. I'm not sure they trusted me too much, or if they were too fond of me, to be honest, but they certainly were fond of each other. And we had a little bit of rehearsal before the shoot, and during that time of rehearsal, we read the text, but we would also share stories, cry and laugh. And during those days, the actors, I think they gained a trust, in me, but also in each other. And I think that shows on the screen. There were so many moments, so many times during the shoot when I was watching the actor, I was maybe a meter away or two in a set, and I would watch them, and I would be like, is it as good as I imagine it to be? Like, wow, they're really coming to life. And I can't credit myself for sort of giving them some wonderful direction. It's really that they were willing to explore this role and to freely like step in there and be that character. And I'm very, very grateful to them for that.
Beautiful. So let's say filmmaking doesn't exist as a medium, or you get caught in a scandal, and you get kicked out of the industry. What line of work do you pursue?
I never had a plan B.
Okay.
I wish I had, because there were times when I certainly did not feel that I was doing what I was supposed to do, or especially early on in the film school, I thought this is not going anywhere. The teachers keep telling us how gifted we are, but the films we do are like are really, really bad. I like
Right.
if how good I am is here, and if how bad the films are is here, like they don't match, they don't meet. So there were times I wish I had a plan B. I don't have one. But sometimes in moments of despair or I imagine myself to be an old school portrait photographer, like maybe not now when everybody is taking photos, but let's say 50 years ago or 75 years ago, just meeting people, putting them in front of the camera and talking to them and getting them to relax and sort of, or to sort of show different sides of themselves and click. There's that character. So I'm a great fan of classical old school character photography.
Okay. Well,
Portrait
Klaus, thank you
photography.
very much for your time. I really enjoyed talking to you today.
Michael, thank you.
Is there a final thought you want to end with in regards to My Sailor, My Love?
Uh, I can only say that if I would not know about the film, I would go and see it. I think I would fall in love with the film. I'm very happy with the film. I'd say when a director thinks that, wow, this is the kind of film I'd like to watch, not because of my work so much, but because of the actors, the writers, and the other artists in the team, I think I'd be pretty satisfied.
That's great. Well, thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you.